Hello, everyone. Just waiting for a couple other things to come online here and we'll get started. There's two of the four. There's three hitting for number four here. Hope you're having an awesome 2021 already. And, you know, how often have you been told in your life you have to forgive and forget? You got to move on. You got to forgive and move on. And even things that I believe in is to hold a resentment is like drinking poison, expecting the other person's going to get injured by it, so it is necessary. But forgiveness in itself can truly become a trap. Even in the Bible, it says that we have to forgive and move on. But the process of what happens is so many people is we have an instance that happens in our life. And then from there, we go into that forgiveness mode where we go into the resentments, the angers, the upsets, all of that. And then we start moving into where we want to let that go. It might be costing us something, or it might be, causing issues in our life or things like that. And so we decide, or we're pulled into, however it may happen, that we lean into forgiveness. And we go through that process of forgiveness, and there's all kinds of different processes. There's processes I work with my client on, but you can go online, you can look for forgiveness process and find all kinds of stuff that's been written on it, and some really good content as far as tools to use. And then we go through that forgiveness mode, and we feel like we've forgiven that person, and we start moving forward, and we move forward, and we move forward, and then something sparks that inside of us, and it just reignites that entire resentment, that hurt, that whatever that was that happened. And and what happens is people live their whole life in that loop. They're the victims, and they forgive, and then they forgive, and then they move forward, and then something sparks on that, and it reignites it, and they continue to go through that loop. That's what I mean when I say about being trapped there. I just so happened to be talking to somebody about this today, but then I picked up a reading today, and it says there can only be a need for forgiveness when first there is blame. And there can only be blame when first there is misunderstanding. I love that. There can only be a need for forgiveness when there is first blame. And then there can only be blame when there's a misunderstanding. So here's what happened. 15 years ago, whatever it was, I went through my divorce, and it was the darkest time of my life. I had thoughts that I hope, I don't ever want anybody else to entertain with their life and such. And through that process, I went through the deepest resentments I've ever felt in my life. And then at some point of being miserable enough in those, and so many things would spark that and reignite that, and I'd be having a good day, and something would happen in a whole nother area of my life, and it would just reignite that flame of that, man. And it just like took me over. And I got to a point of being in so much pain. I started looking for help on how to handle that, how to deal with it, how to truly forgive, is what I called it at the time. And what I realized, what came to me, is what I wrote in my book, Life's Lessons. And you can find it on Amazon, but I'm not plugging it. But what I found was everything that happened in my life helped me grow. It helped me expand. Everything that happened was my life's lessons. When I started to realize that, the way I stepped into it is I had to take the judgment out of the things that happened to me in my life. So something would happen, and instead of going into being a victim, and forgiveness at any level, we have to maintain that level of being a victim in our life. If we're not a victim, there's nothing to forgive. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. When I took the judgment out of things, when I quit looking at things as being right or wrong, good or bad, fair or unfair, just or unjust, all of that, and I just looked at the situation the way it was without judgment and started asking myself, why would this be happening to me? Why would a nice guy like me be going through this? But when I started asking, how is this here to serve me? How is this here to help me? I could start seeing everything that happened in my life. I could start with the present time, and I could see how everything had happened in my life to help me understand myself better so that I could grow, expand into who I am today. For instance, that divorce, at the end of a long litany of things that happened that really crushed me, I realized all of that was to help me see what a people pleaser I had lived for so many years in my life. That if one less of those things would have happened, I would not have gotten that out of it. They needed to happen. I needed for those to happen in order to grow and expand, to understand myself, to understand where I was stuck, to understand what was holding me back so that I could grow and expand into the man that I am today. This has worked. I've been able to start there. I've been able to go all the way backwards in my life and understand situations, circumstances, do perception shifting. And I do this with my clients to help understand why the things that happened to me, how they were there to help me, how they were there to help me grow and expand in my life. I follow the Bible. I follow God. I'm spiritual, but like I believe in God. That's what I call it. Whatever you may call it's perfect for you. Sorry for the brief interruption there. Whatever you may follow is perfect for you. But when you look at the story of Jesus, whether you're Christian or not, when you look at the story of Jesus, and the crucifixion of Jesus was necessary for him to fulfill his role. That means that he had to have a Judas in his life in order to fulfill the role that he came to fulfill. Now, if you take that same concept and you put it onto my life's lessons, which is a higher vibration than forgiveness. So there's resentment, then there's the forgiveness zone, and then there's the life lessons. What has this brought me? Where's the gold in this experience, this situation, this circumstance to help me, to spark me to grow and expand or launch my life, and however you want to look at that. We need a Judas to show us that side of things. Whether it's a person, a situation, a circumstance, whatever it is, we need that Judas to help us see what that is inside of us, to bring that outward. See, our resentments aren't there to crush us or push us down or hold us back. They're there to help us go through them, to freaking launch our life. Because of those, they give us the power, they give us the insights, they give us that internal drive to grow in our life. So if this makes sense to you, awesome. Leave a comment, share this, help expand this message to other people. You don't know, you could be the person that gets this in front of somebody who really needs to hear this tonight. If you got a question, I put my email in the comment in the post there. Just reach out to me. There's no cost or anything for it, but reach out to me. I personally respond to those. I want to spark a conversation. I want to help as many people as I can move from that resentment mode, understanding there's forgiveness work to do, but then launch into that life's lesson mode. Launch into understanding that everything in your life happens for you, not to you. So I hope this is helpful to you guys, and God bless.